Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today, we've cooked up a new set of crazy revenge stories for you. But before we begin, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. And our first story is, Entitled Aunt Unknowingly Ended Her Own Financial Support. This actually happened at Christmas last year, but the effects are now being felt full force. My older sister, let's call her Rhea, and our mom have always had a very difficult relationship ever since I could remember. Rhea's always been headstrong and not afraid to ask questions. My mom was a very traditional, devout Christian who put family above everything first. Bit of background. My mom was the second eldest of 9 children and moved from the Philippines to the U.S. She grew up dirt poor in a small province and experienced firsthand the hardship that comes with taking care of a big family. She was the first of her family to graduate college and has always valued education as a means to get out of poverty. She's paid for 4 of her siblings to go to college. Only 2 actually completed and went on to find jobs. She's also paid for several of her siblings' children to go to good schools in the Philippines. Rhea had more exposure to the extended family than I did. She was born in the Philippines. I was born in the U.S., 7 years apart. As she got older, she was very outspoken about how she didn't agree with my mom financially supporting some of her family because Rhea felt as though they were abusing my mom's generosity, especially since my mom was frugal with our expenditures here in the U.S. When Rhea was in her last year of high school, she had a bad falling out with my mom and moved out. They didn't speak for 5 years, although my dad and I did keep in touch with Rhea. In that time, Rhea worked full-time and paid her way through college without any help from my parents at all. Fast forward a few years at my high school graduation, I invited Rhea. She attended and ended up reconciling with my mom. Things were still rocky, but they had a much better relationship. 2 years ago, my mom passed away. Unknown to me at the time, Rhea had quietly taken over the continued financial support for my mom's younger sister, Jana, cost of living and maintaining the college fund for Jana's daughter. She also took care of the funeral arrangements and handling the estate. Dad was a mess at the time. Last year, Rhea and I decided to spend the holidays in the Philippines. One of our visits was to Jana's place. Little did I know that crap was about to hit the fan when we sat down for dinner. After small talk, the topic of my mom came up, and this is how the conversation went. Details may be lost in translation, so you'll just get the gist. R is Rhea and J is Jana. J. Such a shame your mom passed away. We will miss her. R. Yes. J. Rhea, why did you stop talking to her? Why did you leave her? You should be ashamed. That's not how you treat family. Now your mom could have raised you better. You always were too headstrong, you know. That's not ladylike. You shouldn't be so aggressive. You need to be softer. How are you going to get a man otherwise? She goes on to say more stuff along those lines. Rhea was just quiet. Jana then turns to me. Don't be like your sister, okay? Be a good daughter. Do you have a boyfriend yet? You don't want to get old like Rhea and not have your own family. That's not following God's plan. Before I could speak, Rhea asked her own questions. Why did you drop out and decide to get pregnant when mom was paying for your college? Did you really think that businessman would leave his wife to take care of you? If you wanted to be a trophy wife, you should have just said so instead of wasting my mom's hard-earned money. At this point, I just decided to watch because Jana was starting to really piss me off, and Rhea has been known to do epic takedowns. She's now enraged. How dare you come to my house, eat my food, and disrespect me? Technically, it's my mom's house. You have food because my mom has been supporting you for the better part of 15 years, and you disrespected her by wasting all the opportunities she worked hard to give you. I don't need your attitude or your bullcrap. I don't need anything from you, you disrespectful bee. Get the hell out of my house. Rhea got up, smiling, and said, You sure you don't need anything from me? You don't want anything from me? I want to confirm that I heard you correctly. I don't need crap from you. I can take care of myself and my family. How dare you imply otherwise? Get out of my house, and your father will hear about this. All right, she looked at me. You heard her. Let's go. Now, I was surprised at how calmly Rhea was taking the diatribe because I've seen her and my mom get into massive shouting matches. More confused than anything. I followed her to the car. You heard her, right? She said she doesn't need anything from me? It then begins to dawn on me what my sister is about to do. Yeah. Okay, she says. So we get back to the hotel, and my sister promptly stops the auto transfer of funds for Jana's account. We then spend the rest of the week lounging by the beach and hanging out with other cousins. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my cousins and heard that Jana is just now realizing what actually happens when you run out of money. I called up Rhea shortly after to give her an update. What, she ran out of money that quick, Rhea said? There was enough in there to last her a year. Oh, did you tell her that? Well, I mean, basic math. Will she lose the house, I ask? Rhea says, nah, it's paid for. As long as she doesn't do something stupid, she should have a roof over her head. Did you also close her kid's college fund? No, I'm not going to punish the kid for her mom's stupidity, but that's all she gets. So if she F's it up, she F's it up. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how this plays out in the next few months. I have a feeling my sister probably won't give a damn one way or another, though. Good on Rhea. Still showing kindness by not closing the college fund. And our next story. Disowning their daughter, regretting forever. This basically happened like 3 weeks ago. I moved out from my mother's house since I was going off to university to study math and physics. My brother had a girlfriend who I really liked and respected. I soon accepted her as part of my family. She used to spend lots of time at our place because her parents were a nightmare. They were pretty poor, which doesn't have anything to do with them being horrible parents, just for context. But they also were stingy AF. Here in Germany, you'll get money for your child to buy them food, provide shelter, warmth, and clothing. Her parents didn't spend her child money on anything for her. She slept in a dark, cold room, bought her own clothes, got no pocket money. The only money she got was from her job being a post girl, and that only amounted to 48 euros total for a month. Her bus ticket already cost 58 euros, so she had to ask her mother to lend her money, which she would have to then pay back. Her parents didn't want her to move out or go study since she was way too intelligent for them to ever control, unlike her simple brother. When she said she wanted to move together with my brother into the city where she'd gotten an apprenticeship, her mother nearly exploded. She actually had hoped she wouldn't get the job so she could realize how stupid she was for wanting a good future for herself. You can imagine how much her parents hated my brother. Fast forward. I come back home, stay a few weeks at home, visiting friends and relatives. As usual, she's at our house, but my mother then told me that she was living here permanently, being registered exactly at my home address. I'm a little stunned, as I'd only some days before suggested that very thing to her, and she said she didn't want to break ties with her family. But things changed when her mom tried to cut up her prom dress. It had been given to her by my mother as a present, and she was furious about what her mother wanted to do. She just explained that she never got such a nice dress, so why would her daughter? My brother's girlfriend called my brother. My mother then drove him since his car's getting fixed to her. They just packed up most of the stuff that they could carry, not including a lot of things my brother's girlfriend had gotten as a present since she didn't pay for it, so it wasn't hers. So her bike, her clothes given to her by her aunt, and some of the presents she'd gotten from my brother had to be left behind since she was threatening with the cops. The last words were, "You can always come back to us when he has beaten you black and blue. We love you." Look, my brother can be a jerk, but he never got violent towards anyone. Since this day, she's still living with us. Now here comes the juice. Since my mother's really good with the law and legal stuff, we've gotten her parents to pay her the child money they are now owing her. We also requested money support for her since she gets no income. She's only 18, so she'll get a lot of money, plus her child money, plus the apprenticeship earnings, plus a little extra from our family. Since she isn't living with her family anymore, they were getting Wohngeld, which is a financial support given to you per person and square meters of your living space, and Wohnungsgeld also got a lot less. Mind you, her parents were gifting themselves smartwatches and laptops for Christmas. My brother's girlfriend had gotten a shampoo bottle with a discount label on it. So after a few days, they realized they were in a lot of financial doo-doo and had to pay her back 4 months of child support, which they couldn't. They pleaded for the amount to be halved, which my brother's girlfriend could have agreed to, but she just took a pen and said, "F that," crossed out their plea and put it back in the envelope. She now doesn't have anything to do with her family anymore, who tried through multiple means to get to her. I really admire her for staying that cool all these years. She rocks. And our last story. Using my unpaid work. Look at it a little closer. Several years ago, I was working as a product designer for a conniving striver. For $17 an hour, I would conceive new products, do the spec and shop drawings, create 3D renderings, post all the information in the company file, send the docs to the fabricators, and update the drawings per the fabricator's feedback. Sounds like work? I produced up to 15 household items per day. I was a fiend because I wanted to grow in the field. In the meantime, my boss would flip through magazines, yell into her phone, yell at everyone in the office. She had no concept of product design. She was a business manager. This created no end of frustration explaining to her how long projects could reasonably take. In the end, she decided that I was being paid too much to do too little, and she fired me after 3 months. I was upset, but decided it was for the best. The work atmosphere was just not viable, so I handed in my hours and wished everyone luck on my way out. I was a lot less even-keeled when I got my paycheck and realized she'd cut it by a third. When I called her, I had the phone on speaker and my lawyer friend listening. She tried to get me to do extra work before agreeing to pay me. My friend jumped in and intimidated her. We agreed that she would send me the remainder of my pay, and once I got it, I would email her a rendering that I had done the month before, but that she had lost. The bimbo didn't even know how to look up her own data. The check arrived, and to my great surprise, I was able to cash it without a hitch. I got out the rendering. It was a photorealistic hotel lobby filled with the products I'd spent 3 months creating. Then I decided to have some fun. I took my former boss's face, widened it and distorted it, and put a faint reflection on a glass wall. I parked a cigarette butt in a potted plant. I put a very NSFW poster in an adjoining room, just barely visible. I put slight footprints on the rug and an impression on a chair that suggested a large person just got up. I put a rat's tail behind the vending machine. Then I superimposed words over the whole image. If your eyes relax, you would read unpaid labor. Once your eyes focus, the words go away. Magic eye type trick. This is the version I sent my former boss, and when I checked a few days ago, 5 years after the act, this is still the image she's using as a homepage for her website. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.